Hey everyone, welcome to Sam's Sports Corner episode 62. Alright, let's jump right into it. Been a busy week of college sports. Can't wait to talk to you about it all. We're going to start it off with something a little different. It's going to be hockey. It's not going to be NHL. The big story of the week in hockey is the Spartak Moscow, which I know sounds crazy, is a women's team in Russia, and one of their forwards, her name is Julia Ushakova, and she sprained her ankle yesterday. I know it's tragic, sounds tragic. She is about 6 feet tall, blonde, about 128 pounds, stunning, absolutely stunning. So she sprained her ankle. I think we should all shed a tear for Julia. But how we know she sprained her ankle, the team announced her injury by tweeting out a picture of her with her one ankle wrapped, other ankle in the air, laying on the table, and a thong. Whole thong. I'm going to repeat your name so you can go ahead and spin the Google up. It's Julia Ushakova. She plays for Spartak Moscow. Go ahead and hit the Google up real quick. Fully worth it. Very enjoyable way to tweet out an injury. And I mean, hey, look, all I'm saying is teams in America should adapt this policy. You're going to give us some bad news? Might as well give us some good news with it. A little thong action? Not too bad. All right, next, we're going to hit college football. Clemson's coach, Dabo Sweeny, went 12-0 on the year. After they beat in-state rival South Carolina by 21 points. I thought it was going to be closer than that. I thought South Carolina was going to give them a run for their money. Did not happen. People started tweeting about Dabo Sweeny doing a bad job and he should be fired and this, that, and the other. Let's not forget, man went undefeated this year. One loss last year. One loss the year before that. So in 36 games, he's 34-36. And people are calling for him to be fired because he's not blowing out in-state opponents when it really doesn't actually matter. That game mattered nothing. They were going to win the ACC no matter what. So it doesn't matter whether or not they beat South Carolina. And people are calling for him to be fired. It's absolutely outrageous. Dabo Sweeny came in an interview and said, if you're not having fun right now, you're not paying attention to Clemson football. And if winning 12 games a year isn't fun to you, maybe I need to find a new job, which every media host in the nation freaked out. It was like, oh, Dabo Sweeny wants to leave Clemson. No, that's not what he said. It's not at all what he said. That's a complete fabrication of the truth. He just wants to let fans know that it could be a lot worse. This is the Nick Saban effect on college football, which I've talked about on the show before, that people want to be they're already competing for national championship. But because Alabama's blowing out big opponents, they want everybody to blow out big opponents. It's just not realistic. College football isn't like that. They can't be the Patriots every year. They can't be Alabama every year. It's not realistic. Dabo Sweeny is probably the second best head coach in the history of college football, and he's getting flack for it. I will gladly take him at Ole Miss. Speaking of Ole Miss coaching changes, Cliff Kingsbury is available for OC. Mike Leach is available for head coach probably. There's a lot of people available for defensive coordinator. Can't wait to see what Ole Miss does. But Dabo Sweeny, great coach. I do think Clemson's a little overrated this year. They only beat Syracuse by 3 points. They've had a lot of close games. It's a double standard for Clemson and Oklahoma to have weak strength schedules and win all their games, but UCF has similar stats and they're not in the top 4. I think it's bullshit. Whatever. Moving on. Quick NFL mention: Eddie Jackson. When he was drafted 3 years ago, I said next Ed Reed. Exact words. You can tweet at my father, ask Stephen Sloan. He said I was crazy, but I said that's the next Ed Reed. Well, he has 5 TDs in the season right now. When he was drafted, there were 8 wide receivers drafted before him. He was drafted in the 3rd round because of a leg injury at Alabama. And just so everyone is tracking, what a genius Sam Sloan is, and Bears head coach and GM and staff. The 8 wide receivers drafted before him, not a single one of them has 5 touchdowns. So, suck it. I'm smarter than you. Virginia McCaskey's smarter than you. Theo Epstein's smarter than you. Basically, everybody in the Bears organization is smarter than you. So, moving on. The last thing we're going to hit is an idiot of the week. Oh, is right. All right, so idiot of the week. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, has called on Ross Bjork, the Ole Miss athletic director, and the Mississippi State athletic director, whatever sister. Oh, okay, we're gonna play it again, I guess. It's that sad. This sister humping fellow who is the AD for Mississippi State, he wants to meet them both in their office to talk about how to make the rivalry less toxic, less animosity in the relationship between the two schools. And this is all because of a fight that broke out in the third quarter of the Egg Bowl. And I think it is an absolutely ridiculous proposal to bring these two gentlemen in. First off, they handed out unsportsmanlike conduct post-game. They said the refs got it wrong. Matt Corral and A.J. Brown should have been ejected, which is absolutely outrageous considering Mississippi State player started the fight with A.J. Brown. He backed off. Matt Corral did reinitiate, so I could see a Matt Corral ejection just because he reinitiated contact. But then Mississippi State player, I think it was Abrams, reinitiated contact with Corral and ripped his helmet off. And they said Abrams shouldn't have been ejected, even though he reinitiated contact as the fourth man in, not even third man in, the fourth man in, and ripped off another player's helmet. Said he shouldn't have been ejected. It's a complete bias. It's ridiculous. I'm sick of the SEC bias, but he said he wants to pull both ADs in to talk about making the relationship less toxic. I would like to know where Greg Sankey was when Mississippi State had fuck T-Sun, the school up north. That's their nickname for Ole Miss because they're the little brother. They have to have a nickname. They're obsessed with Ole Miss. Mississippi State is. But so I would like to, when their baseball team had the fuck T-Sun jerseys, I'd like to know where Greg Sankey was. When the NCAA gave immunity to a Mississippi State player, Leo Lewis, to testify against a rival school in the conference, where was Greg Sankey? Over the last 3 years, when there were 4 fights that broke out between the two teams, where was Greg Sankey? This is a save-face moment because he understands the pressure that is on him because of the trash officiating of SEC officials this year, including the Ole Miss State game, the LSU Texas A&M game, the LSU Mississippi State game, the Ole Miss Vandy game, the Ole Miss Texas A&M game. You could basically pick a game this year and find the average watcher can find 10 to 12 mistakes per game. And so he's just trying to deflect and be like, the teams are there's too much toxicity. He is no leader. And I hope athletic director Ross Bjork, I really hope he grabs his nutsack at him and says, F off. Or the only other acceptable response is to walk in, drop on the table, the desk, if you will, a transcript of the Leo Lewis testification against Ole Miss, and walk out and say, piss off, because you were complicit in all of these things, so we're going to be complicit now. And we roll. Let's be. I want Ole Miss to be the scumbags that they want us to be. Greg Sankey was an idiot at the beginning, was an idiot at the middle, and let's let him be an idiot at the end. He has done nothing to fix the situation or help the situation. He's only perpetuated the issue and now wants to come in at the back end and be like, this is a problem. Dan Mullen is somewhere else in the SEC, i.e. the East, laughing about the problem he has helped create. So let's move on from it, okay? Greg Sankey's an idiot. We owe him a dunce cap, And I hope he sees this, because I'd like him to know what an idiot he is, and I'd like you all to know what an idiot he is too. I can't wait to see you next week. We'll talk some good sports then. Bye.